Welcome back. Today we're going to talk a little bit about homeowners insurance and the deductibles that apply when you have a claim. It's a confusing area and a lot of people don't really know what their deductible is, especially in the case of a hurricane or a storm, and so we want to get everybody on that same page. So I think most people know, whether it's your medical insurance or your car insurance, that we have a deductible on the coverages for our property. And that means that for a small loss, say the first could be $250, $500, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is, you agree that you're going to take that on as the first part of a loss, and the insurance company is going to pay afterwards if it happened from a covered peril, which is separate from the deductible, and we'll talk about that at another time. But the deductible means, so if you have a fire and you have a $1,000 deductible, you're going to pay the first $1,000. The idea of deductibles over the years is to prevent insurance companies from having to get involved in small losses. It takes several $100s worth of processing just to process any kind of claim. And so if they have to process this on small claims, they're going to have to charge a lot more for the insurance because they're going to be paying out more just in expenses than they are in the claims themselves. But in the storms that happened in the later 90s into the early 2000s, it became another issue with wind and hurricanes in particular. And what happened was most houses can withstand a hurricane or at least a windstorm, but outdoor awnings, barbecue grills, outdoor furniture, sheds, things like that, fences, basically are not designed to withstand that sort of wind. They're out there all the time. And so the insurance companies came up with what they described as either a wind and hail deductible, a catastrophe deductible, or a hurricane deductible. And it's important to know the difference. A wind and hail deductible means that if it's any kind of wind or hailstorm, you're going to have that higher deductible than your regular deductible. It doesn't have to be a hurricane. A catastrophe or a hurricane deductible means that the higher deductible won't apply unless the storm has basically a name from the National Weather Service because it reached hurricane status. And this can be very important because a lot of policies have up to a 5% hurricane or wind deductible. And that's 5% of your dwelling amount. So if you have let's say a normal sized house that's insured for about $400,000, and you have a 5% hurricane deductible, that means in a hurricane you have a $20,000 deductible. You're going to be responsible for the first $20,000, which could be an entire roof or other sizable damage. And these deductibles became very common about 10 years ago, and they were forced on the insurance companies by what they call the reinsurance companies, who said we just can't pay out every time there's a wind blowing up for things like awnings and barbecues and outdoor furniture. But in the past 5 years, as storms have calmed down a bit and as companies have gotten a little bit better handle on these things, these deductibles have been lowered. So in a lot of cases, you might be able to get coverage with a 2% or a 1% hurricane deductible. So back to that original example of $400,000, if you had a 1% deductible, now you're talking a $4,000 deductible instead of a $20,000 deductible. And some companies are offering it with no special deductible at all. And in those cases, we recommend that you take typically a $2,500 deductible on everything else just to get all the benefits of the savings. At any rate, it's always a good time to check your homeowner's policy. Make sure you understand the deductibles. In New York State, all those deductibles have to be listed on the front of the policy. So make sure you understand what you have. And if you have questions and want a free review, contact our office. Thanks a lot.